The Whiskey Throttle Show, now available on the Spot Network, an independent, standalone streaming platform, live now on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Google Play, Android TV, most smart TVs, and all phones and tablets. Look for future live shows and specials only available on Spot Network. Download the app today on your favorite device.
So that 81 season, you guys are still just a lot of development. What do you remember from
A
that
lot
year?
of development. Hansen, and we were kind of not even the Bad News Bears yet. We were really more of a C plus B level team, we weren't really the status of the Howertons and the Hannas, the Glovers, the Barnetts. I mean, we weren't really that, and then all of a sudden we were developing the bike, and it was a good base, but we were getting it a lot better. And then all of a sudden, Donnie started racing those guys and beating those guys. And we were like, whoa, And then I think the thing that really put us over the top was Dick Miller called Roger, and he said, AMA's not going to put together a Motocross Trophy of Nations team for 81. And he was all sideways about it, like, we'll help raise money. And he asked Roger. Roger's desk was just, we faced each other, sitting right across from me. And Roger's asking me, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. In my mind, I'm going, there is no way in hell a bunch of guys in Southern California are going to go beat Velkinaires in the sand.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd seen those guys. But anyway, that's what we signed up for. And then the rest is
history on that.
I can't freaking believe that they did, honestly, to this day. And the other thing, too, is we had been playing in Supercross in 81 between, what's better, air-cooled or water-cooled? And water-cooled, even in some of the advisory board meetings, riders, they wanted to outlaw it, and the hoses are going to come off, and people are going to get burnt.
Is that right?
Yeah, and handling of the bike was a little funky, and ergonomically it was funky. But anyway, we went to Europe for those races with air-cooled bikes, and deep sand, and the bikes are detonating, and anyway. But those guys winning the team of the all Honda team, winning Motocross and Motocross Nations in 81, kind of made us start to feel legitimate, and got the respect of Japan to sort of treat us maybe even away or be involved more legitimately.
So the four guys, you had Johnny O, Laporte, Chuck Sun, and
was it Gibson?
Gibson?
No, Gibson. Then Jim Gibson, right?
Was that the first year? Hold on. It was Laporte, Sun. It was O'Mara.
Yeah, O'Mara, Laporte, Sun, and I'm trying to think.
Was Hansen.
It was
Hansen.
Because Hansen got hurt.
Yeah.
Then he got hurt in 82, and you brought Gibson over.
Yeah.
No, you brought David over.
Yeah, I brought David over. But then
Yeah.
we had an all-different team in 82. Magoo was on the team in 82. I mean, completely different. And even that changed the whole status of the United States and the level of American riders. I mean, it changed everything, all of a sudden the press, the European press, they held world champions on a pedestal, with the Thorpes and the Håkan Karlqvist, those guys, And
we were kind of a joke.
And the Americans were a joke going there. Like,
they were cute.
Who are?
Seriously,
oh, look, that's cute. They're coming to.
That's nice.
But who are these guys? That's not Howerton. That's not Hanna.
Yeah.
That's not Glover. That's who. We didn't even know these guys.
Yeah.
And then they win, and then the next. But they didn't win with 1-1. We won by accumulated score.
Points.
And then the next year you come back and they're like, who are these guys? Like Magoo and Bailey, and they dominated. Dominated.
Magoo won everything. So, and I have my hero on notes. As far as you had so many different personalities, from Bob to the dynamic duo between Johnny and Dave and all the different stuff. But was Magoo the hardest person for you to manage?
Jean-Michel Bale was the hardest person for me to manage, but that was later.
We'll get there. I got him.
But Magoo. It depends on a personal level or trying to keep enough parts in the truck.
As far as a racer, just like I hated racing against him. Not he wasn't dirty. He just scared the shit out of me because you never knew what he was doing. Like when he passed Steve Wise, with a foot and a half between the K rail and that. And every time you came into a corner, you had to go right down the inside because it didn't matter how far back it was. He was going to go in 10 feet deeper than you, and so you either had to be you were a berm or not.
Bro, I don't know. I was a sucker for anybody with speed, you know, and so from that standpoint, I mean, it was very controversial to bring a guy, and I was almost made to feel it was irresponsible to put a guy like Magoo on a Works 500. You know, that Brock Glover and David Bailey were the reigning 2 fastest guys on 500s at the time, and Glover would come over to me like just dumbfounded exactly what I mean. How do you race a guy that's crazy? Like, and I mean, he wasn't trying to be funny. He was like exactly what
was scary.
He was. I'll set him up on the off cambers. I'll do this. I'll do that. And then you'd see on a downhill, and these things made power.
Yeah.
I mean, they made a lot of power. And on a downhill, on a Works 500, you see Magoo's elbow go down by the foot peg, you know, and you're like, oh, yeah, so.
Yeah,
anyway.
he was, and what he did there, it's mind-boggling. Because I did in '84. You know, remember we were over there. We did donations, and I did the 500, riding 500 one weekend and 250 the next weekend, and you had to travel. We went from Finland to Sweden, and it was just all this crazy stuff. But for him to kick everyone's ass that dominant, I mean, it was unbelievable.
Weren't you riding behind him when he finished one time? I thought you told me this story, and as he comes across the line, you just see everybody swarm him. Was that you telling me that story?
No.
Somebody was behind Magoo as he crossed and won, and they were just saying it was like they had sort of a
Bailey.
It must have been David.
I wasn't there. It was all Honda guys.
That was in '82, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of you know who showed up in '82? Like a lot of American. I was surprised to see in Germany. A lot of American military came.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I knew a lot of guys from the States flew to Europe. I mean, after the upset in '81, there was a lot of guys that went over there.
Yeah.
A lot of Americans that went to witness it.
Little side rabbit hole here. How good was Donnie Hansen for that window? Like, I know he got hurt in '82, which kind of ended his career, but for that window of '81, '82, where he started to really figure it out,
He's spot on.
he was really good.
cool.
Like, I think very underrated.
Yeah, he was spot on. Like
He didn't make many mistakes.
No.
But that he would go this fast all day long.
Yeah.
And he trained his ass off. I mean,
Yeah.
he was in great shape. So we had 45-minute motos back then, and I was like Tanner from the Bad News Bears. I would just run into him and try to crash him and try to smash him and stuff, and he would never lose his cool.
Solid.
Just right there every bit of the way. I mean, it's that smooth.
The style just looked incredible. A little bit of footage
I think his size, everything. He was ergonomically like Brock and I are big, and he wasn't. He was a little smaller like Johnny, and so he fit the bike well, and he was right.
He fit. It was like he fit where we were at with the development of the bike. I mean, it was that's a weird statement, but you can see there was eras where Jeff Ward was kind of a good package on that. But then you know somebody else would race that bike, and it's like a mini bike, you know, and the same with Schultz on Suzuki that Barnett was developed from Mark Barnett. But Donnie was, and we were making a lot of progress with the bike with linkage and chassis geometry and mass, you know, all the placement of all the parts on the bike.
They were smaller in the 80s. You know, I asked you, I think, during your show about that. And, you know, when I sit on a bike from the 80s, like we've got an 86 250 sitting here, it's a small rider compartment. I'm really comfortable in it because I'm so small. But, like, you and David, you seems like you should have looked massive on them. You didn't, but you said even then you had to make changes. I think David brought his pegs back 5 mil and brought them out and had the different 22 offset clamps to kind of get forward a little bit further with the handlebars and open that cockpit up.
Yeah, but you just made do. You figured it out.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, well, that's what you got to ride.
Yeah, but it makes sense that a shorter guy like Donnie would just
Right.
fit with that thing, or Johnny. Interesting.
Yeah, Donnie was spot on. I mean, in Supercross, started in Supercross. You know, well, it started actually in outdoor nationals in '81. Went into Motocross the Nations. '82, he was unstoppable for Supercross and outdoor.
Not unstoppable.
Oh,
Yeah, not unstoppable.
he hits.
No,
a little-
wait. What was?
Wait, ow! He just hit a nerve. I need some Novocaine. Code red.
Wait. When did you break the wheel?
That was in Colorado when you brought Kenny Keelan on. I tried to pass Kenny.
What year?
'82.
All right, I take that back. He was unstoppable. We lucked out.
No, he didn't luck out. They did the right thing at the right time, and they won. And honestly, I look back at that, like that's the one that hurts the most because I had to push the bike around and do all the different stuff, and then chase Johnny. Brock took off and chased Johnny for 45 minutes, trying to crash him, and he's just looking at me, just going, like, nope. And I cried. I literally cried for 45 minutes, and then I crossed the line second. He finishes right behind me, lose the championship, and so they did everything right. But honestly, that's what made me so determined, you know. And
ended up being something good for you.
A force at a later time, yeah. It was, but it was good for me, and probably if I would have won, I think success would have probably hurt me in more ways than one
at that time.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching the Whiskey Throttle Show. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click the bell to get alerts for all the latest content. Follow us on Twitter at W_Throttle_Show and on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram at Whiskey Throttle Show.